Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Foster, and this is Talk of the Town. You know, as the summer winds down, we think about what we're going to be doing in the fall. But one of the things that I think sets Clinton apart, and one of the things we all look forward to, is when summer starts, and when it starts to end, is Summerfest. And of course, the culmination of Summerfest are our fireworks. And I think that's one of the premier events we have here in the town of Clinton. And joining me today is a gentleman whose actual company is the one who supplies the fireworks, American Fireworks. We're going to talk a little bit about the fireworks with Kevin, and then tomorrow we're going to have another segment, and we're actually going to be walk through all the different ways that these fireworks go off, how they coordinate, and so on and so forth. But joining me right now is Kevin Fitchler. Kevin, come on in.
Hey.
Now, Kevin, how long have you been doing this? You said when you first said it, too long. So what would be the definition of too long?
I started professionally in 1976, so
Wow.
it's a long time.
And when did you start the company American Fireworks?
Well, American Fireworks actually started 5 generations ago. I worked for the company, and eventually I bought it out. It originally started in Sicily, and immigrated to the United States, and went through family after family. I'm the first family member, or not a family member, that bought the company, but I'm like family because I worked there for so long.
Wow. Now, how many events do you put on during the course of a year?
300 to 400.
300 or 400. Wow.
Yeah.
And what is the general size of the actual fireworks themselves in terms of, is one town bigger than another? I mean, how does this rank in terms of number of fireworks you'll be using and so on and so forth?
This is a good sized show. I mean, we're shooting almost a ton of fireworks off tomorrow, so there's a lot of fireworks. So
When you look at someone like you look at something like the New York City fireworks. What's the number of fireworks they use there?
well, there are a lot, but what they're doing there is they're doing like 5 shows like this spaced out along the harbor. So it's
wow.
actually the same show, but along different places. So wherever you are, you can see the same show going off.
Wow. Now, in terms of your company, how many employees do you have?
160.
Wow. And what is their general responsibility?
It varies. There's each show has a license shooter, which would be in charge, and then besides that, you need a lot of laborers to carry the racks, lug the racks, and you can see nailing everything up and putting it together. So it takes a lot of work. Just to get the shows ready in the shop. It takes probably 40 hours for each show, just of shop time.
Wow. Just the shop time. And what is the shop time? What are you actually doing during shop time?
We're building the fireworks, putting them together, packing up the different types for the shows. Each show has different requirements as far as what the venue has, what for size, room. Some places we use small stuff, some places it's all big stuff.
So the regulations will vary from town to town, and you have to
Yes.
not only do you have to worry about the equipment, but you also have to worry about town regulations.
Yes, everything's based on distance from the people to our road or wherever we can't control where people would have access to.
And you said that you have to have a person who's licensed who actually who choreographs the actual fireworks themselves.
Yeah.
So that would be Andrew tomorrow.
Andrew and myself both will be here tomorrow. So
That must give you such a sense of self-appreciation, knowing that you've got these people who are gathering all over the shoreline to watch your product being shot into the air. I mean, what does that do for you in terms of the emotional high? And
it's great, especially the end when you hear the cheers and the boat horns honking. It makes you feel really good. Makes it rewarding. So.
And I think that's what's so nice about our town. We've got a lot of volunteers. We've got Iris Dunham, who's our camera person in the back of the camera. We have Doug Elliott, who's going to be filling in tomorrow for Iris. And it's great to see towns come together. And having done so many of these across the country, do you get the same sense of feeling for all these different towns and communities?
Yep, it is. It's great. I think it's something that's fading away, though. A lot of towns are giving up. They don't have the town pride is gone. But Clinton still has it strong. It's a good family town. Everybody likes to come out and watch the fireworks and have a good time.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's nice about the fireworks here in Clinton is it's not just one company that's contributing to the overall product. Everybody in town is contributing just so they can participate and watch the show at the end of the year, celebrate Clinton and celebrate our heritage and everything we do in this country that makes us great.
Yep, that's true.
And you see other towns aren't maintaining that same sense of pride.
Years ago, all the towns did, but it's fading away. It's a lot of work to put these events together, and people don't want to put the work in anymore. Here, there's a lot of people that put the time and effort in to make it happen.
You think it's the economy that has something to do with that?
I like it's the economy. I don't know what it is. It's just pride's gone places. I don't know why. Family values and pride are gone. It's towns like this that still are true American towns. So.
That's great. Now, I think Andrew was telling me you have a special, unique accreditation that not many people have. What is that accreditation, Kevin?
I'm a master pyrotechnician, which basically means I can build everything that we use. I have built it at different times, so I don't have to rely on any particular source. If I need something and we don't have it, I can build it. So
Now you say you actually build the fireworks, so you're
Yes.
you're taking the ammunition, loading up the mortar, and the whole nine. How does that work?
start with the chemicals, mix the chemicals up, and then pack them into the shell. So
Wow. And so the shells, are the shells pre-made? You don't make the shells; they're pre-made.
no, we make everything.
Wow, you make the shells as well.
We do make them, but we buy a lot. We're using so much we can't make it all.
Wow,
Years ago we did make everything,
wow.
but now we have to buy it because we're. I've had 5 containers come in from China just in the last 3 months. So we go through a lot of product.
Now, what do we see in back of us here? What are these things we see right here, Kevin?
These are the mortars that the fireworks will shoot out of. They're it's HDPE. It's high density polyethylene. It's basically designed if something were to blow up in here, it wouldn't throw any shrapnel out. It would stretch and it would all be intact here. It might rip it apart, but it would all be here.
And so, is this something you make as well?
No,
That's something.
well, we buy bulk tubes, bulk lengths of pipe, cut them to length, and then put a plug in the bottom of them.
Okay.
So we do assemble them. We don't actually make the pipe, but we just buy all the pieces and put them together.
Now I see you got people setting up over there with similar mortars.
Yep.
Then you've got some out in the point. Are each one of these choreographed together? So is this in back of me? This is an actual part of the fireworks.
This would be the main body of the show,
This is the main body.
and that over there is the finale.
That's the finality. Wow. So in-
And out on the point is it's the largest ones we shoot out here. They're 8-inch diameters.
wow. And all that has to be coordinated with one computer.
No, actually we're gonna use 2.
They
But
use 2 computers.
you could do it with 1,
Wow.
but we do it with 2 in case one fails, then the other would take over. So
And how far away are you going to be when they actually shoot the fireworks?
we'll be 100 feet.
100 feet. Okay. And you set up. Now, when you're looking at the computer, what are you actually looking at?
We can show you tomorrow when you come by.
Sure.
And,
And that's what I said. Tomorrow's going to be very exciting because tomorrow Andrew and Kevin are actually going to walk us through and show us how they coordinate with the computer and how they make this whole thing happen. And, you know, as you look at the rest of the summer, how many more shows do you have to go?
quite a few. I mean, last Saturday we had 16 just on Saturday. So
Wow.
tonight I think have 8 tonight, 10 tomorrow, 2 Sunday. I mean,
Wow.
we shoot every day.
So we're very lucky to have the president of the company here at ours today, right?
I don't know about that. If you're lucky, you're just short straw, but I'm here.
And so who coordinates all? So you have one licensed person that's at all of those different events at the same time.
Yes.
And what kind of accreditation do they have to go through in order to get that certificate?
First off, you have to have the experience. It's hands-on learning. Once you've gone through enough experience, then you have to take a written test. And once you take the written test and pass, then you have the license. So,
So how do you get the experience before you get the certificate?
you have to work for a company.
Okay.
You know, some of these guys don't have their license yet, but they're working and learning. And when they're ready to take it, they'll take the
So
test.
all these guys we see right here, those are all employees of yours?
Yes.
And so they came with you. Now, where are you located?
These guys are all local guys here in Connecticut, but I'm based in Oxford, New York.
Okay.
Um,
And that's where the company is.
yeah, that's the main.
And that's where you do all the manufacturing. That's where you make all the fireworks and everything.
Yep, we have 200 acres. It's
Wow.
Fireworks Mountain. So
Is that what they call it, Fireworks Mountain?
yeah,
So you do displays just for your friends and family once in a while?
actually we do. During COVID, we had nothing to do. We actually broke the world's record for the largest 2.5-inch finale ever shot. So.
Did you really? Wow. Did you?
5,000 shells.
Wow. How many shells will be going off tomorrow?
In the whole show, there is.
That's right here.
Yeah, I do have it here. If I can find it. There is 2,834 shells.
Wow. So you had over 3,000 more. That'd be quite a display. And what's the average number
There really isn't an average. Every place is different.
based upon the regulations?
Regulations and just their budget too. I mean, you know, county fairs and things like that. They don't have a budget of a town display. They just want a little fireworks to end their event with. So
Well, last question. So, Kevin, how did you get started doing all this?
I was just a kid who never grew up. So
So you started with putting that thing in the ground, just lighting it and running like heck, right?
that's it. That's how I started. And
That's what
Never grew up.
That's where the love of fireworks started, right?
Yep,
And
that's
look
it.
what it grew into. Did you ever think when you were lighting that firework off the beach or somewhere else that it would become this type of monster company?
No, I never did. I don't think my father ever did either. When I lit the basement on fire multiple times, he'd always be slapping me.
Slapping some sense into you, right?
Yeah, he tried to, but I guess it didn't work. I'm still here.
You're still here. It's still going strong. And well, I really appreciate you, Kevin, because this is something, as I said, we all look forward to here in the town of Clinton. It really is the highlight of our summer, and just to think that you and Andrew will be running the show, and all these people will be completely around the shoreline and every place having parties and everything, and you'll be you'll be like the wizards behind the curtain, right?
That's it.
Well, we really appreciate that, Kevin, and we
appreciate being here, so
okay,
we're
well,
glad to.
we look forward to tomorrow, and we also look forward to oncoming summers and continuing our relationship with American Fireworks. So thank you very much, Kevin, and we'll see you tomorrow for the second part of our show. So Kevin, before we wrap up, you said you're going to show me something about the computer. So explain what's going on here.
This is a computer firing system. This is a script. It's not for this show, but it's just a general script. But you can see what'll happen. This computer can actually fire shells at a rate of 1,000th of a second.
Wow.
So it can fire 1,000 shells in 1 second, equally spaced apart.
Wow.
So you have so much control to choreograph with the music or whatever you want it to do. But in this case, what we're going to do, this is not hooked up to anything right now. So we're going to arm the system. And the trigger system I have set is channel 0, which it's on. And then step. So right now I'm going to push this and the show will start.
Wow.
And you can see the green line's what's happening right now. And it'll keep jumping to the next event.
Wow. And the next event is like the next mortars.
Right.
Wow. And
Yep.
so do you have the ability of overriding that? Let's say something
Yes.
goes wrong, you can automatically override that?
Yep. I also have to do is disarm it right here. It will stop. Or if something it's not wrong but it doesn't work, I can just jump ahead to the next cue and
Wow.
it'll maintain the time sequence.
That's great. Now this is all set up for a program for a different show.
This is right now.
So the show we're going to be showing tomorrow, is that already programmed?
Actually, that's not programmed. Andrew and I are just going to do it together.
Oh.
We'll just sit here, talk to each other, and push the buttons as
Really?
need be.
So you don't have to. It's just you guys are going to figure out which goes which.
Yep.
So but I mean, you got to have some sort of an organization as to how are you going to do which and which.
Andrew and I work together so long. It's we just sit next to each other, and
It's okay. Let's do this one.
yep, pretty much.
Wow. And how many are you shooting off at the same time?
It depends. I mean, the finale has a lot in it. There's probably 1,000 shells in the finale alone.
Wow.
That'll go off in just a couple minutes.
Wow. What's the total length of the show?
I would say probably 20, 25 minutes.
Wow. It seems like a lot longer.
Yeah, it does. You keep everybody entertained, and it does seem like a long time.
Wow.
So.
And when you're done, you got to say, "Wow, that was awesome."
Yep. And hope you guys do too.
Oh, we're gonna think it's awesome because every year we have a little country club estates where we have our own little beach. We'll be sitting over there with a big party going on, and I'll be saying to my friends, "Hey, Doug and I were over there. We were watching Kevin and Andrew actually go through the motions and make it happen."
Yep.
Well, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, you could come over here and push the button yourself if you'd like.
All right, I'll be here. Well, thank you very much. We'll go to close right now. Thanks again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, in the second segment of our show, we'll be coming back and we'll be walking with Andrew and Kevin, and he'll be showing us how this all coordinates. You'll see the actual mortars, the actual fireworks themselves, how they work with the computer. We'll have a substitute cameraman tomorrow, Doug Elliott, who's going to fill in for Iris, and he's going to do a phenomenal job, and we appreciate his participation. And as always, we want to thank Iris Dunn for her participation. She gave up having some fun with her friends to come out here and do this right now, but we really appreciate it. She's also the editor, producer, and everything else you can think of that goes into making up a show. So this is Tom Foster. Thank you for watching the first half of today's program. We look forward to seeing you on the next program coming up very shortly. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with the second segment where you see where it all happens. Thank you very much. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this segment, we're going to be further exploring how these fireworks are coordinated. Yesterday, we talked to Kevin, who's the owner of the company, and explained a lot of the history of the company, how some of these things are going to be coordinated. He showed us one of the computers. And as I said, there's a Clintonite who's going to be very integral in today's display. That's Andrew Randy. And Andrew's going to, again, he's going to explain how he computerizes it with Kevin, how it's just going to be two friends sitting at computers, lighting the skies here in Clinton, and giving us one of the best fireworks on the shoreline. I think probably the biggest on the shoreline. So, Andrew, if you'd like to come in. Andrew, welcome.
How are you?
And Andrew, first of all, thank you for all you do for the town. You know, this isn't just the fireworks. Tell us about some of the other things you do in town. But before I ask you that, what actually, if you're a Clintonite, what drew you to Clinton to begin with?
We were starting a family, my wife and I had a very good friend, Mike Ruggiero, and he said, you should come to Clinton and check it out. He said, it's an old colonial type town. He says, everyone knows each other. He says, it's friendly. He said, it's kind of like old school. And I said, all right. So we were checking out houses, and we fell into a new development, and, you know, two young boys, and I figured, nice little house in a cul-de-sac, a lot of woods. They get dirty and get beat up a little bit and do the old good old boy stuff. And
Great.
we came to Clinton. Beautiful town.
And of course, the shoreline and the beautiful water that we have in back of us, that's got to be a draw as well.
Everything about it was good.
You know, one of the things, you're obviously an example of the volunteerism we have here in Clinton, and everybody I've talked to in Clinton, some of the, you know, the town fathers, some of the people in town, and I said, what's the one thing that you feel that sets Clinton apart from others? And the resounding thing I keep on hearing is people. Would you agree with that, Andrew?
100%. And that's one of the reasons why we came here. It was just my friend Mike is a great guy. His family's great. He was very involved in Clinton. They were here all their lives. And once we came here, basically open arms. I mean, it was great. It really was great. It's the people. It's the shoreline. It's old school ways, kind of colonial ways and stuff. And everyone walks around and says hello, and everyone takes care of each other. And that's
Being cheers, everybody knows your name.
kind of exactly, you know.
And with all the volunteerism you do, everybody in town knows you. Everybody's calling out your name as we were coming down here. What are some of the other volunteer projects that you're involved with, Andrew?
We do a lot with, like I said, the fireworks, but also in town with the, you know, coaching and the sports events and stuff. And if I run a culinary school in Gateway, and
Wow.
you know, so anyone wants, you know, cooking and stuff, we're doing something for, you know, the Veterans Affair here in town in a couple of weeks, I think, you know, with Mike Guerrero. So we do a lot of things, but if it's cooking and fireworks, I could do it.
That's right. It's a good combination, right?
Great combination.
Now, how'd you get involved in fireworks?
My cousin, who's older, which I used to call Uncle Louie, got me in when we were young as kids. He owned the company, and his son and myself, you know, we got involved and started helping him out. And before you know it, we were licensed and we were shooting and training and learning the business. And then eventually he sold the business, and then I started continuing doing shows. He sold it to Zambelli's, which is another large family of fireworks. And ever since then, I've been managing companies. We're one of the only few companies that actually have a magazine in the state of Connecticut. So
What's the name of the magazine?
it's no magazine. It's American Fireworks. It's under their name. So I managed that for them. And prior to that, I managed for another company for 8 years. So I manage the magazine. I take care of Connecticut and part of Rhode Island for them. So I do all the shows and take care of all the guys and so forth. And Kevin's in New York.
Yeah, so did you, like Kevin, I was asking him yesterday, how did it start? Where you run up, you put that fire, you know, light the fire cracker, and you run. So we've come a long way since then, right? Andrew?
That was in the 1950s and 60s. It was great. When it
I'm
worked
dating
that way.
myself. No one else will.
I'm almost there. But now it's pretty much, they call it e-fire. It's electric fire. And there's different systems. We use, you know, Fire One system and Cobra system. But
Which means what?
they're the name of the companies that actually build and manufacture the electric systems and the computers. So we interface both of those together, but we very rarely hand fire anymore. The reason why is, again, safety first and foremost, and it's a control factor in the sense of we have control over what goes off and how it goes off, both in timing and so forth. And God forbid if there is anything that goes wrong, we could always shut that computer down, that section of computer down, and see what the problem is. So we like it for safety, which is always number one on our list. And second of all, the control factor that we could actually shoot certain shells that we want at a certain time, and it's strictly regulated by us, not a computer.
But when you say shooting them, you're shooting them through the aid of a computer.
Correct, exactly. And there's manual or there's automatic, but we always do manual, again, because of the control factor and the safety factor.
Now, yesterday, Kevin was showing me that he had a programmed fireworks, and he said it was for I guess it was for a bride and groom, and they said they wanted exactly at 4 minutes, not 3:58, exactly at 4 minutes. So the computer will actually figure everything out and do it right to the second.
Exactly, right to the second, and you could have numerous different shells, the same type. You could do sequencing in the sky, which we'll do at this show, where certain shells, like we have a falling leaves, they call them. They look like actual leaves, like falling in the wind, and they're green and they're red and they're white, American flag, and they go off in sequence. So you'll shoot reds up and you'll shoot whites off, you know, and blue off, red, white, and blue, and so forth and so on. So the computer could do that automatically by programming it, or we could, again, do it manually when we know the numbers. So basically we have a computer sheet, a printout, tells us exactly what number is what shell, and then we just read the sheet and we go from there.
Now, in terms of the yesterday when he was talking about that 4 minutes exactly, do you still have a manual override on something like that?
Yes, we do. There's always a safety override manual, always. And we always stay at the computer. We don't move from that computer.
So what if it went at 4:02? Would you get some grief from the bride?
Uh, Maybe a little bit. Maybe I might have to cook or something later on at an anniversary party. No, we usually the computer is very accurate. So when we do a programming that is a sequence programming, if it's 4 minutes in the computer, it'll go off at 4 minutes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Now tonight, Kevin was telling me that you're not going to have a computer program, that you and Kevin are actually going to be doing the whole thing manually. And I was asking him, do you just do it extemporaneously? But you're saying you do actually have a sheet that's going to tell you which button to push and which canister they're going to go off from.
We have a sheet so we know what fireworks are what. We still shoot them when we want. So it's not like we're going to go in sequence and just hit the button 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. We have a sequence that we basically put together, so we know that if it's, for example, and I can show you on the computer, if it's going to be mod number 1, so it might have 1 to 16 numbers on it, and I know on my sheet that mod 1 is all falling leaves. So I know that it's 16, you know.
Yeah.
So again, you just do the math and divide and figure out how many shells are what, and you just go to 16 and say I'm doing falling leaves, and we always call out what we're doing so everyone could watch, and if they're going to video it, and then we just hit the numbers in sequence.
And how long did it take you to, get an expertise in something like that? I mean, this isn't something that just happens overnight. So number one, you've got to have a really good knowledge of fireworks and their capacity. You also have to have an incredible knowledge of computers and then how those two interrelate. So how long does it take to actually learn something like that?
Well, there's two things. First, there's the company rules and regulations that Kevin has for his company, which is always exceeding the state regulations as well as the federal regulations. But now, as of today, you need 3-year apprenticeship before you even apply for your license. So you have to work with a licensed shooter for 3 years, and then you have to go through every phase of the fireworks. So it's from understanding the racks and the equipment to the computers, and then more, of course, on the explosives. And we have them training here today, and they start off always at the smaller denomination of the fireworks. So they'll start off with the 2.5 inch and the 3 inch, and once they basically learn that process, then they'll move up all the ways to what we have.
To the monster we have in back.
What we have here, you know. But there's an intense training program. They don't get to apply for the license because we, as licensees, and the owner and the manager have to sign off on it to make sure that they fulfill that requirement. And Kevin likes them to even go further with that in the understanding of not only the explosives and the 3 years apprenticeships to learn all about them, but then he goes into the mechanics of it. First and foremost, it's always safety with us. So.
Sure. Now, I would imagine, so you've got somebody who goes through the apprentice program, they're duly licensed. I would imagine with all the changes in technology that they must have to go back for recertification on a periodic basis.
They have training for a company. We have training every single year. So we all go up to Kevin's magazine up in New York, the corporate office, and we have a 3-day training process there. Okay. with Kevin. And it's all basically on the new regulations, the ATF regulations. For us, it's Connecticut State. For a lot of them, it's New York. But we have multiple licenses, like myself, New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. So we basically train on all 3 states.
Wow. Now, you were explaining to me about how far the explosives have to actually be away from where the people will be sitting. Could you explain that and how Kevin goes beyond that in terms of a safety issue?
Sure. The regulation requirements for distance in Connecticut is basically 350 feet is the minimum. So you always start at 350, no matter what size.
350 being the distance between the firework and the people?
And the people, as well as any house or structure. Okay. So either or, but mostly, again, the pedestrians. And then after that, anything from 5 inch and on, it's 70 feet per inch of explosive. Wow. So, for example, if you're going 6 inch, you have to add 70 feet on there, so you're looking at 420 feet. Wow. And so forth and so on. Yep. So when you do all that calculations, we make it safer and easier for them to calculate. So we make it 100 feet when it comes out to that. So we start at 400 feet, and every inch after that, 6 inches, 6 inch, 600 feet, 7 is 700 feet, 8 is 800. So wow. Someone that's a little deprived in math, we make it easy for them, just the one category.
Thank you.
All right, yeah.
That's me.
There you go. All right. So it's always distance, and we always add that up. So Kevin, and every company is different, but Kevin is basically a little over in regards to making sure that everything is over what the state and the federal regulations are.
So you said you and Kevin are definitely OCD.
I would say we're slightly on that cusp there. Yes.
And that really helps in a situation like
Yeah, it's all good.
So in other words, so if we look down where we see them all set up, we're on the shoreline right now. We're right at the town beach, beautiful town beach, and a beautiful day here in Clinton. Your smaller fireworks are closer to the audience, and as you get further away, that's the bigger fireworks.
Correct. So the closest fireworks that we have there are 400 feet from the building, the guest, and the fallout zone. Okay. So that's certified by us. We have a rangefinder. So when they put the first rack down, when they come here, we range find to make sure that wherever the yellow tape is that the police and the fire department put up is 400 feet from that line. And that line is a barrier. Basically, no one could go past that.
Okay.
And then after that, it's 100 foot per inch. So we have the 3, 4s, and 5s at 400 feet. And then we add 100 feet. So you'll see the smaller ones up front and the larger ones way in the back. Okay. So these 8s, even though we require 800 feet, yep, you're probably over 800 feet.
Wow. And that yellow marker you see way at the end there, that's the point of demarcation.
Correct.
And who sets that? The fire marshal sets that
Both
up?
the fire marshal and the police.
Okay, great. Now, speaking of the monster, we said we're as far away as we can from the smaller ones,
Yep,
but now we get these big monsters up here. First of all, what is the size of these canisters they're going into?
These canisters are 52 inches.
Wow.
For these.
And what is it made of? Kevin was telling us a little bit about it yesterday.
HDPT.
Okay.
It's a plastic that actually expands with if there's an explosion in the mortar itself. Okay. So this is called the mortar, that is called the shell. It's typical, as you would find pretty much in any of the, Army, Navy, and so forth when they're setting off mortars. It's kind of the same concept. You have
I want everybody to focus on the size of this this monster. This is the shell.
You have a shell. You have all the info on the shell itself, manufacturer, the size of the shell, and on the bottom here is an actual lift.
Oh, okay.
On there.
Yep.
So with this lowered in by the rope, you lower it in.
And how far in does it go?
This goes all the ways to the bottom.
All the ways. So it's basically going to be about here.
Nope. Whatever the size and dimension of the mortar is,
yep,
is the size of the wooden plug on the bottom.
Okay.
So if you look at this, this has a solid wooden plug.
Oh.
So if the mortar and the shell is 8 inches, this block has to be 8 inches.
Okay.
If it's a 4-inch mortar and a 4-inch shell, the block has to be 4-inch.
Wow.
So they make it easy to calculate,
Sure,
so it's not confusing, but this has to be a solid plug.
Wow.
And what happens is this becomes the lift.
And now how does this actually get ignited?
This is the rope that we use to lower it in. So we would lower this in.
Yep. And meanwhile, just hit the bottom of that
You
wooden
hit the
plug.
bottom.
Yep.
And this wire on the squib, we're a little tangled.
Yep.
This wire will be plugged into a computer. It's called a slat. And that slat, which I have right here, this is the computer slat. And
Wow.
this has 32 hits on it. So this plug here,
Yep,
if I wanted to put them in, you would just plug it just like a computer plug.
Yep.
Or a stereo plug.
Yep.
One in positive, one in neutral. And the antenna here gets screwed in. And once I turn this on and arm it, my computer, my main computer, will pick this up.
Wow.
So this will have different channels. So I could have up to 100 of these.
Wow.
Multiple barges, 2, 3, 4 barges. And my computer will pick this up. And on my computer, I could program in that if this is going to be number 1 and that's going to be number 2, and if I'm doing one of each shell,
Yep,
I could program that into my computer. So when I put my computer on and I hit 1 or 2, it'll tell me number 1 is 8-inch,
wow,
and it will give me green falling leaves, brocades with red strobes. It'll give me some, if I'm doing chrysanthemums, whatever.
Wow.
So it programs everything, but as long as you put it into the right mortar with the right shell and program in the computer, you're good. And as you can see, all the boxes are labeled
Yep.
and marked, so you know exactly pretty much what's going up at
Wow.
any time.
Now let me ask you a question. So does that mean that so we're seeing all these mortars set up all along. We got the finale over there. We got some more here. The main show. Is each one of those tied into a separate computer?
Each one is tied into a separate computer.
Which is then which then through that antenna goes to your master.
Goes to a master.
And then you control all these boxes through your master.
Everything.
Wow.
Everything that we put on, you could have, as I said before, up to 100 of these.
Yeah.
All right, so figure it out. 32 times 100 is 3,200 shots.
Wow.
And you could program anything. The good thing about these wireless computers is that this Cobra system, I could shoot a quarter of a mile away.
Wow.
So I could have multiple barges out there and be on the computer, and it's going to go a quarter mile away.
So you could sit in your backyard having a picnic and say,
I could
you know
sit-
what, we're having a little.
I could sit on the beach today with my family and friends, and I could shoot the show from there if I wanted to.
That's amazing. Now, speaking of that, Andrew, tonight is such a celebration of Clinton. It's a celebration of the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. I mean, it's really a sense of rejuvenation of our town. And my question, I asked Kevin the same thing. When you're sitting there with Kevin and you're doing all this, and you hear all the people, the cheers, and you know that there's parties going on all along this shoreline. There's fields all over here, and you know that you're the ones that are entertaining them. And you hear those. What kind of sense of fulfillment does that give you to know I'm entertaining all these people on the shoreline? It's coming from me and Kevin. It's like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
It's a great feeling because the town is great, and you want to give back to the town that you live in, and about 6-7 years ago, that was, I was doing shows all over on the shoreline, Brantford, we were doing West Haven, we were doing, Middletown, we were doing all the shows locally, and I said, I got to get a show here in Clinton. So this friend of my wife's, Mari Lee, who owns the taco place in town now, she came over for dinner one night and we were talking, and she was on the chamber and involved, really in town with everything. And we kind of put it together. We met with the chamber and met with the town and so forth, and this has been a tradition.
That's great.
And the good thing is, like I said, it's a great town. I mean, everyone will come out tonight. The beach will be packed.
Yep.
My wife, my kids, they'll have friends, they'll have family. Everyone will be there from Clinton. It's a great feeling. But the biggest thing is to give back to the town.
Sure.
That's what we're here for.
You mentioned the chamber. Paul Orsini was here earlier. He's going to be coordinating everything. Does a great job as a director of the chamber. Mike Cuoco from the Clinton Insurance. He's going to be bringing your sandwiches for lunch and dinner. That's what it's all about. People helping people.
Well, that's the whole thing about the town, and that's why we came here. Everyone was working together to help people when we first moved here, with 2 young kids. I mean, everyone put out their hand. You need a hand. You got to go to this daycare, that daycare. It was a wealth of information that we got. And it's just a great town. Everyone works together. I mean, like you said, Paul's doing an unbelievable job with the chamber. And Mike Cuoco, I mean, he works on every committee. I mean, I see him around town all the time. He's like the mayor or the first selectman, I mean, if he wanted to be.
Yep.
But every year he's been bringing us sandwiches for lunch, no matter if we have 5 guys here or we have 15 like we have today.
Yep.
And then tonight he'll bring pizza or something, whatever we want. He's like almost like,
Pied Piper.
our YouTuber, Food Hub, Mike Cuoco Food Hub. But they're all great, and everyone works together. And the good thing about it is no one expects anything,
Right,
in return. I mean, that's the great part about it.
People helping people.
It's exactly people helping people. But the biggest thing, everyone looks forward to the Summerfest now, and Paul increased it with all the activities on the town and on the town beach. And I mean, it's just a great feeling. So we do our little work here, and Kevin and I work our magic, and I hope that you'll be around later to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But we work very well together. We always did, and now working together running this business is just as good. We get along well. In 4 years, 5 years, there hasn't been one disagreement or one argument. I mean, it's amazing how we get along well. But he's also involved because he also, and myself, we donate a good amount of explosives and fireworks to the show.
That's great. Thank you so much.
He loves it because it's a great town. He says it all the time. He says the restaurants, he stays here like 4 days.
Wow.
I mean, it's like he's taking a vacation after working.
Follows Mike Cuoco around.
Exactly. But, he loves the town himself, and he always helps out with, giving us stuff for the town and making sure that show is great.
Yeah.
And we orchestrate it together, and like I said, we worked great together. We just, did a show Wednesday, and we got another one next week, so. And speaking of donations, he donates a show to, Camp Rising Sun.
For the cancer patients.
Cancer patients.
God bless them.
He told you. So, we all volunteer our time. All the guys volunteer their time. It's a great great feeling there too. You know, I mean, it's all good. You know, it's all good.
And a big shout out to Chief Vince DeMayo and his staff is all out here. Chief Manware, he's got all his people out here. Again, people helping people.
And they're all good. I mean, anything that we need, anything that they need, we all work together. There's, you know, again, there's no really discussion. Everyone knows what everyone is doing now. I mean, it works well. Paul has coordinated everything perfectly. I mean, it's a great town, but it's a great group of people. It really is.
Well, it's great people like you that make this a great town. Thank you so much, Andrew, for
You're
your time.
welcome. Thank you
And
very much.
Doug Elliott, my cameraman behind the scene, we're going to come back here around 6 o'clock. And now Kevin said that I could push a button. Would that be true?
That is very true.
Well, then we're going to be back here a little bit after 6 o'clock, and that'll be the highlight of my year.
That'll be a good one. I'll have to pick one out for you. That's really good. You want it loud or do you want a color one? I mean,
Oh, I like it loud.
oh, we'll get you a loud one then. We'll get you a loud one. Just hold on to the glasses. They might fall off.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
It's really,
welcome. It
and
was nice
it's
talking
people
to you.
like you that make our town great. And thank you so much for all you, not only with the fireworks, but your culinary, helping cancer patients. That's awesome. Thank you
It's
so
a
much,
great
Andrew.
town. You're welcome.
And we'll see you in our last segment coming right up right after this. Thanks a lot. Hold on. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this segment, we're actually going to light off a firework. And with me is Kevin. Kevin is the president of American Fireworks. Andrew Randy will be joining me in a few moments with his family. And I'll tell you, Kevin, when I was talking to Andrew earlier, he said that you really love coming to Clinton because of the people. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. They're just a great bunch of people here. They make me feel really welcome. It's kind of my home away from home. So.
Well, we welcome you. Anytime you want to be here, we're welcome. You're welcome here. And you can come to, there's going to be parties all along the beach line. As a matter of fact, after we get...
One year I'm going to enjoy the parties, and Andrew will do the fireworks. So.
So you're both going to be doing it tonight, though, right?
Yep. Tonight we're both doing it. So.
Well, you're more than welcome anytime to come over in any one of these shoreline communities and have parties with us.
Sounds good.
It'd be nice when you have to work, right?
It will be very nice.
Well, when Doug and I leave here, we're going to go and join a party over there. We're actually going to wrap up the show, interviewing some people that are actually going to be watching it and watching your masterpiece unfold right in front of their eyes. So explain to me, first of all, I was asking about the wind. Now, tonight it's got a nice wind, and how does the wind contribute to it?
So tonight's wind will be nice for the people on the beach and in town because it's just going to suck the smoke away. So it should just be just a nice clear canvas for our painting to be up in the sky. So.
And like I was saying yesterday, what a tribute to you and the sense of fulfillment to know that you got all these parties happening here all along the shoreline. People are back over in parties, all along, just watching you and do your masterpiece. Like I said yesterday, that's going to really make you feel good.
It does. It's great, especially at the end when everybody's cheering and the boat horns are blowing. It makes you feel it's rewarding. So.
It is. So how long did it actually take? We saw you yesterday. That we were just getting set up. They were just bringing in some of the racks, and then today we actually saw them unloading the ammunition itself. Is that what you call it, ammunition?
It's the fireworks, the shells. So.
And then how long between once you got here this morning and now you're all set up and ready to go, right?
It was about 5 hours. Wow. So we had a lot of big crew today, so that was very helpful. So.
And one of the other things you told me is that you and Andrew will actually be setting all these off with a computer, and you've got is this like a mini version of the computer?
Yep, this is a mini version of it right here. This is its portable version.
Okay.
So.
Now that antenna, if you can see the antenna here, Doug. Okay, the antenna that we see right here, that is hooked up to all these various. Because Andrew was explaining to me that each one of these has a separate computer, and that's hooked up to a master. So is this like
This is the master right now for what we're going to be doing for this demonstration. So.
Wow. That's incredible. But then you have a bigger computer that is actually the one that sets off anyone you want at any time.
Right, but right now for this demonstration, this is just hooked up to one box over here for you to shoot, so you can become a master pyrotechnician. So.
Exactly. Now, I want my wife Karen. Karen, you listen to this. Kevin just made me a master. What do you call it?
Master pyrotechnician.
Master pyrotechnician. Easy for me to say. So you watch this, Karen, because I'm going to be doing this for you and all the people over Country Club Estates and all the people over in Port Clinton Marina. This is for you because it doesn't get any better than this. So and Doug Elliott also. I don't know if you'd realize this, but we have royalty behind that camera.
Really?
Doug Elliott's family is actually one of the founding fathers of Clinton.
Really, that's good to know.
The Jared Elliott House is right next to City Hall or Town Hall rather, and he was there in the pool and enjoying today's barbecues like everybody else is. So it's nice having royalty join us.
It is nice to have royalty. I feel honored.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's see what we're going to do here. Can we turn that so the camera can see it? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So now tell me what we're going to do here.
Okay. Can turn it on first off.
Okay. So now it's turned on.
Yep, it takes a minute to cycle up. It's got to find how many devices are out there. We only have one right now, and it'll show us that it has one armed. So we're going to go to channel 1. where we have that set on.
So over here, if you can see that, Doug, that little canister over there, that's where this is going to be firing from.
You can see the other device on the with the antenna sticking up on it. That's where this is sending that to, and then that will fire the shell.
Now, how much pounds of dynamite do we actually have in there? Firepower.
What we're shooting off right now would be it's about a pound.
About a pound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it's a small device, but
And here comes the other person who's going to be helping us tonight. Andrew, if you want to come over here, I was just made a master pyrotechnician.
See, you got certified.
I got certified. Kevin certified. Come on in. We could slide over a little bit.
Good, that's good.
Okay. And Kevin was just explaining to me exactly what's going on here. And so you guys are going to be having to master one of these. This is what you explained to me this afternoon.
Exactly.
This is one that's hooked up to that one, and you got all
Correct.
the other ones that are hooked with a similar antenna.
Yep, similar antenna, just a larger operator box.
Okay.
It's more of a computer type.
Okay.
laptop.
So now we've turned it on.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And so what's our next step now, Kevin?
well, I've armed it already. So
Okay.
your next step is to push button number 1.
Push button number 1. Okay.
Hold on.
All right. So you ready for this, Doug? Okay. Now this is going to exit at about what speed?
350 miles an hour is the muzzle velocity when it leaves the pipe.
350 miles an hour. So keep your eye right over there. That's coming out of here at 350 miles per hour. Is that the average miles per hour
For the 3-inch,
for the 3-inch?
pretty much average.
All for muzzle velocity when they leave the pipe.
Now, what about that big old one you and I were holding earlier today?
Same thing. The only thing is the distance.
The distance.
More powder on the lift brings it up higher.
So how high would this go?
300 feet.
300 feet in the air? Wow. Now,
Kev, what's that? I'm sorry, Kev. What's the average? It's about 100 feet per inch. That's how the average is. So the 8-inch will go up 800 feet, a 4-inch 400 feet. Remember I told you we keep things simple in this business? So the 100, and we keep the 100 feet distance, and we keep 100 feet velocity going up. I mean,
well, when you're dealing with someone like me, you got to keep it as simple as possible. You know,
you and I both.
the old kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
All right, so we're ready to go. And so, Karen, this is for you and all the people over at Country Club Estates and over also at Port Clinton Marina. And here we go. So just push button number 1.
Yep, ready. Let's
All right, you ready, Doug?
Let's do a countdown.
All right. So
3,
take 2, 1.
Go.
Okay.
Let's
Re-
do that again.
okay, let's try it again.
Armed it. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow.
God bless America. All right. This is what makes this all such a great thing, to see stuff like that. And again, Kevin and Andrew, I really want to thank you for taking your time from your busy schedules to let us do this stuff. It's a real tribute to American Fireworks. It's a tribute to both of you. You know, our Clintonite here and the president of the company. All right, so now you can see we're in the middle of the party. And Doug's behind the camera. We want to thank Doug for his being here. We want to thank Kevin and Andrew. One last shot before I go. And as you can see, they can do it anywhere in the beach. We're right in the middle of a party. Andrew's wife is taking care of this party, but we're going to do one more for the road, as they say. So here we go. What's the name of the person who's retiring?
Ed Alberino.
Ed Alberino. This.
Wait 1 minute and we'll shoot it for him.
Oh, yeah, so I'm going to say, yep.
All right? We're going to do a little shot for Ed. Hey, Ed! 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 Hey, Ed! This is for you!
This is for you, Ed.
2, 3.
This is for you, Ed. Happy birthday.
Go ahead. All the way. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Happy birthday, Ed. Thanks for all your commitment. So I really want to thank you, Andrew, and your family, and thank your wife and your kids for letting you do this. And the same thing with you, Kevin. It's a real pleasure. So thank you so much. And now it's on with the show. And Doug and I are going to go over and interview a couple of people on the beach and see what their parties are going like and see how they enjoy it. And like I was just saying earlier today, you guys must have a lot of fun tonight in realizing all these people over there and all around the shoreline are going to be watching you two master pyrotechnicians do your thing.
It's a great time.
It's a great time. Well, listen, thanks again, Kevin. I appreciate that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap up this segment. Doug and I are going to interview a few of the people on the beach and see how they're going to enjoy tonight's program. But again, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you to the American Fireworks and Kevin and Andrew. And my name is Tom Foster with Doug Elliott behind the camera. And we're going to have one more segment, and that'll wrap up the Summerfest for 2022. Thanks again. Stay tuned for our last segment of this show. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. as you can see right now, this is the culmination of everything we talked about over the last day and a half. Here we see the fireworks, and as you know, Andrew and Kevin are at the controls. They're the ones that are showing all these beautiful fireworks that are going off right now. We're down here at Country Club Estates. Big party going on in back of us. Our friend Henry Teskey is over to the right having a big party. Parties all around. And this is what life and this is what friendship is all about, and this is what the town of Clinton is all about. As I talked to Andrew and I talked to Kevin, one of the things they said that sets us apart are people. And these are two people, one of whom is a Clinton resident, Andrew Randy, and this is him controlling all these fireworks we're going to see tonight. I really want to give a lot of thanks to Doug Elliott, who's filling in for my producer, my editor, and my everything, Iris Dunham. Iris couldn't be here tonight and couldn't be here during the day. I really want to thank Doug for all of his hard work. We want to thank Andrew. We want to thank Kevin. We want to thank Chief Vince DeMeo. We also want to thank our fire chief, who's also done a great job today. We want to thank Paul Orsini for all the great job he's done with the Chamber of Commerce, Mike Cuoco with the Clinton Insurance, everybody and all the sponsors for today's show. We want to thank the band that was playing here tonight. One of my good friends, Peter Nye, and his band Rock Bottom. They were really rocking it over in back of the town hall. And as you can see, this is what it all culminates in. This is the end of the summer, the beginning of the fall, and the beginning of a new revelation for all of us here in town, the town of Clinton. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Foster along with Doug Elliott and Iris Dunham and all the friends and firemen and police chiefs who made these things happen. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the summer. Enjoy the fall. And thank you for being wonderful members of the town of Clinton. And we thank all of you for watching tonight's show. And we hope to see you again on another upcoming show. Thank you. Good night, everybody, and have a great fall.